All right, all you runners out there, for just a second, I want you to forget about the fancy gels, the carbon-plated shoes, all that stuff. We're about to uncover a secret weapon, something that literally rewires your running form from the ground up. You're not going to want to miss this.
I mean, think about it, right? We spend so much time logging miles, hammering out intervals, just focusing on that forward motion. But what if I told you the key to getting faster, to becoming more efficient, isn't out there on the track at all? What if the real breakthrough is actually found by moving up?
Yeah, it's this, the humble jump rope. I know, it looks like something you'd find on a playground, but trust me, we're about to break down how this one simple tool is actually a super sophisticated biomechanical catalyst that can completely reprogram the way you run. Seriously.
Okay, let's just get this out of the way. We are not talking about jumping rope for a little bit of cardio, okay? This isn't just about conditioning. We're treating this thing as a targeted tool, a catalyst for changing the very way your body moves.
So what's the real objective here? Well, it's not just about getting fitter. The goal, the big idea, is to fundamentally reprogram your body's software. We're talking about those neuromechanical firing patterns, the signals from your brain to your muscles. We're going to tweak them to mimic what the elite runners do, without even thinking about it. And that brings us to what we're going to call the running engine. This is where the magic really happens. We're talking about building the core components, the things that actually generate speed and efficiency, right from the instant your foot makes contact with the ground.
And this engine, it's got 3 key parts. First, we got to tune your central nervous system, your CNS, to fire faster. That's going to give you a higher cadence. Next, it's all about optimizing something called the stretch shortening cycle to create stiffness and that bounce. And finally, we have to drastically, and I mean drastically, reduce your ground contact time. And guess what? The jump rope nails all 3 of these.
So let's talk cadence first. You know that running step drill where you're basically jogging in place while jumping? Well, the rope forces your brain to operate at a super high frequency. It naturally pushes your turnover, your leg speed, right into that elite range, 180 plus steps per minute. It's literally like installing a metronome directly into your nervous system. It just becomes automatic.
Okay, next up is stiffness. Now, that might sound bad, but in running, it's a good thing. Biomechanics experts call it the stretch shortening cycle, or SSC, and this quote just captures the whole idea perfectly. Elite runners don't just muscle their way forward. They don't push off the ground. No, they bounce off of it. They use their tendons like super efficient springs.
And that's because jumping rope is pure plyometrics. It forces you to land with a stiff ankle. When you do that, you load up your Achilles tendon, and it teaches it to recoil instantly. Think about that sink and pop you hear about with those modern super shoes. This is the exact same mechanic. You're basically building that spring yourself inside your own body. And that brings us to the third part of our engine, ground contact time. Honestly, the best way to think about this is that old kid's game, the floor is lava. You just want to spend as little time on it as humanly possible, right?
Well, the jump rope makes that concept brutally real. It's a simple binary system. You're either in the air or you've tripped. There's no in between. If your feet get lazy, if they stay on the ground for just a fraction of a second too long, whack, the rope hits them. It forces you to develop that quick, light touch that is the absolute hallmark of an efficient runner.
All right, so we've got our engine firing on all cylinders, but now we got to talk about the chassis, your body's frame. Because you can have the most powerful engine in the world, right? But if the chassis is all wobbly and unstable, you're just going to leak energy all over the place. It's a total waste. And here's the thing. You just cannot jump rope efficiently if your posture is a mess. It's impossible. If you hunch your spine, the rope's going to hit your head or your feet. If your arms flare out into those chicken wings, you can't even spin the rope right. The rope demands a tall spine and low, tight arms, which, surprise, surprise, is the exact same posture you need for a powerful, efficient running stride.
But there's another self-correction mechanism built right in. It's subtle, but it's brilliant. We can call it the trip warning. And this is all about what your feet are doing, not when they're on the ground, but while they're in the air.
See, to clear that rope as it whips under you, you have to actively pull your toes up toward your shin. This move is called dorsiflexion, and it directly trains that running cue you sometimes hear about, show the logo on your shoe. Why does that matter? Because it stops your toes from drooping when you run, which is a major cause of tripping, especially late in a run when you're getting tired.
Okay, now for the part that every runner seems to obsess over, the foot strike.
Let me tell you, the jump rope is an absolute masterclass in conditioning your feet for the perfect landing. And it works whether you're aiming for a midfoot or a forefoot strike. It's got you covered.
Let's just get this out there, plain and simple. It is mechanically impossible to heel strike while jumping rope. You just can't do it. It doesn't work. So for any runner out there who's been struggling to break that heel striking habit, this is the ultimate self-correcting drill. It just deletes that motor pattern from your brain because, in this context, it's a catastrophic failure every single time.
And you can see how this breaks down really beautifully here. Your standard basic 2-foot bounce, where your heel just kind of kisses the ground, that perfectly builds the stability you need for a solid midfoot strike. But then, when you move to faster, more explosive drills, like double unders, you naturally shift to a pure 4-foot landing. And that's what builds that stiff ankle and the big toe power you need for a really aggressive, springy toe-off. It trains both. Okay, so we've gone deep on the why and the how, so let's wrap this up with the what. What do you actually do? Here's your simple, actionable plan to take all this theory and put it to work on the pavement. It's a 4-part protocol. Super straightforward. Number 1, you start with a basic 2-foot bounce. That's going to build your ankle stiffness, give you that pop. 2, you bring in the running step to drill that high cadence and good knee drive. 3, you can start working on double unders to develop that explosive vertical force. And finally, number 4, you can throw in short 30-second all-out sprints to really just overclock your whole neuromuscular system for pure, raw speed.
When you really boil it all down, it comes back to this one idea. This whole process is about turning your body into a more efficient biological spring. A better jumper becomes a stiffer spring, and a stiffer spring, well, that becomes a faster runner. By perfecting your vertical jump, you are directly building the hardware you need for a faster horizontal run.
So the next time you're planning your training week, don't just think about moving forward. The real question is, are you ready to build your vertical engine? Are you ready to go up to get faster? Because this secret weapon, it's waiting for you.